I'd like to call this meeting of the Lakota Board of Education to order. Jenny, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Casper,
Here.
Mr. Lovell,
Here.
Mr. Parnell,
Here.
Mrs. Schaefer.
Here. Jenny, will you
Yes.
please do the oath of office?
Have the oath of office. So Julie, you have been elected by the community of Lakota, and we have the oath of office to swear you in for the next 4 years. So, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the Lakota Local School District, Butler County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified. If you agree, please say, "I do."
I do.
Congratulations.
She's walking in
Here
right
she
now.
comes.
Could probably do the oath of that.
She gets to do that again.
I'm ready to administer the oath of office, Linda.
Can you take my coat off?
Yes.
I guess she'll let you take your coat off.
Please raise your right hand. Linda, do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the Lakota Local School District, Butler County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified? If you do, please state, "I do."
I do, and thank you for not making me repeat that.
All right, will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
You can.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll have a quick seating for Todd. All right.
What's wrong with me?
And now we'll move to the election of officers for 2020. Do I have a motion for president?
I nominate my buddy over here, Mr. Lovell.
All right. Do I have any further nominations for anyone else? All right. Jenny, will you please call the roll?
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mr. Parnell,
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mr. Lovell.
Yes.
All right, and with that, would you like to take over this spot, Mr. Lovell?
I can, but at the risk of having Todd move around, we could just stay in our seats for tonight if that's okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you good?
Or maybe
I'm just
don't-
looking at Todd over there knowing he's going to have to like navigate.
Or maybe
so-
only move once.
Yeah.
Or maybe just you move and Todd
Could
can
wheel
stay.
his chair.
Todd can stay. We could wheel his chair.
All right. Thank you.
Whatever, okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and at this point, Mr. Lovell will take over as presiding over the meeting.
Okay.
So-
Fantastic. So next up is vice president. Do we have a nomination for vice president?
I'd like to nominate Kelly Casper.
I will second that.
Jenny, roll call.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Take your time.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
And Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Okay, that brings us to the appointment for our liaisons to our committees. There are Board Policy Committee, Community Engagement, Finance and Business Advisory, Legislative, Facilities, and Safety. An email had gone out previously to the board to rank their preferences of their committees, and the board had sent those back. And so what we try to do each year, I'm not saying that we have to do it this year, but we try to balance the committees out across the board so that they're not heavy on one person or another, taking leadership into account as well. So I don't know what the best way to approach this is. Any suggestions?
Well, we start with policy, who's,
Okay. Looking at the rankings, well, Linda and Todd, you guys had ranked only 2 out of the 7. So I had listed policy as number 3 for me, and I'd served on the past, so I'm happy to serve on that again. Linda, would you like to serve on policy with me?
I can do that.
Okay. Community engagement. Kelly and Julie had both listed that as a 3, which is fine. I know, Kelly, though, you have a leadership role now, so,
Yes. If, I will do community engagement still, but my preference, I don't know how many committees we're going to end up having each. So I guess that's a question. If I'm only going to have a leadership role and a committee, I prefer legislative, but I can do legislative and community engagement. I don't know how many
Okay,
committees
well,
we sit on.
why don't we, okay, so press pause there for 1 second. So I'll just put, Julie, are you still wanting to stay on that
Either way,
one?
I'm fine with that, or
Okay, sorry, I'm like got chicken scratch here, so you're gonna have to follow my, on the grid. The next one is finance, so Julie, you had that as marked as number 2, Kelly a 4, and I had a 5. I'm not doing finance committee. Linda, would you like to do finance? You've been on it in the past.
Jenny had asked me to stay on it, actually, and if you'd like me to, I will.
Okay. And then Julie, would you like to do finance as well?
sure, I'm flexible on committees, so.
Okay, let me
Yeah, I'm the other person on finance with Linda now, so that would. I don't-
balance out.
Yeah, I don't need like 4 to 5 committees. I don't have that much time on my hands.
Okay, so then Kelly, we would put you on community engagement then with Julie? Keep
Yeah,
you on- okay.
that's fine if I can still do legislative as well.
Okay, we're getting there.
Okay.
All right, I'm getting to you, Todd. Hang tight. I know you're like sitting on the edge of your seat here.
Literally, because that's the only way he can sit.
Right, okay, so legislative, Kelly, you had that marked as number 2, and Todd, you had that as a 2. Do the both of you want to serve on legislative?
I do, I know Linda had some,
Linda currently serves on legislative with me, so.
I'm happy to continue doing that.
Okay,
So,
That's okay with Todd.
yeah, let's,
fine with me.
are you sure?
Yep.
okay. Kelly, so Kelly and Linda, correct, on that one? Yes, I got that right?
It's like it.
Just need some affirmation here.
Have fun standing up
All
there.
right, facilities, I know I wanted to do facilities, and Todd as well, and had marked that down as his first one, and we're currently on those as well, so being able to continue, I think, would be good for,
I think
and
continuity
continue.
for that one is good to keep you guys on that since you've been doing it.
okay, so that gives me 3 with leadership, Kelly 3 with leadership, Linda 3, Todd only gives you 1.
What else do you want to do, Todd?
What would you like to
Nothing.
do? And Julie 2.
Nothing?
I'm not gonna lose sleep over it, trust me.
All right.
I would be happy to cede policy to somebody else if they would like it.
Do you just want to stay on policy with me?
No.
It's kind of, we have a lot of fun on policy, Todd.
It's okay. Be happy
Mr.
to.
Vogelman.
Be happy to see. Look at you, team player. All right.
Can you recap them, Brad? Do you mind?
Yeah,
Thanks.
yep, sure. So here we go. Policy, we have myself and Todd. Community engagement, we are keeping Julie and Kelly. These are going to land the same, aren't they? Finance, Julie and Linda. Legislative would be Kelly and Linda. And facilities is myself and Todd.
Are we all sitting on safety again?
And we're all on safety. Yes.
I think that's a good idea.
I just assumed that would be the,
Right,
since
that's what I
we've done it, and
Yeah.
it's good to
I
have
think
all of
that's
us.
what said in the email too, that we
on
would
there.
all stay on safety.
Okay. Any concerns, questions prior to us? Okay. Do we need to make a motion?
That's how we have done it in the past.
Okay. Somebody like to make a motion?
For what?
I'll make a motion
approve all of them.
Oh,
to
okay.
approve the appointment of Todd and Brad on the Board Policy Committee, Kelly and Julie on the Community Engagement Committee, Linda and Julie on the Finance Business Advisory Committee, Linda and Kelly on the Legislative Committee, Todd and Brad on the Facilities Committee, and all board members serving on the Safety Committee.
I'll second that.
One other question for the board prior to us voting. In the past, if somebody hasn't been able to attend the committee, it's been basically just reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, can you attend in my place? Do we want to continue that practice, or would there be any desire for the rest of the board to say that, hey, there's one person that we're identifying that will be kind of the alternate for those committees?
I'd prefer to leave it open, just
Okay.
people have different schedules, and that's just my thought.
I agree.
Any-
I don't care. I thought it would be easier to have one point person,
Well,
perhaps
what
a
if the one
president.
point person's busy too, so it's like,
You keep going down the line.
right, it's just,
I would say,
The only reason I brought it up was really just thinking of the facilities work and the amount of work that we're doing and having consistency there. So maybe we just focus like on facilities and say, hey, who might that backup be? So you're communicating with one person if somebody can't be there, but we can work that out. I'm fine with that.
So in terms of that person being informed, which is what I think you're thinking about, how would they be informed unless we're setting that up as a noticed board meeting?
Well, what I was thinking is that if we have a meeting scheduled and I reach out and say, hey, I'm not gonna be able to be there, then I could reach out to that person and say, hey, at the last meeting, these are the things that we discussed. Here's the agenda for next meeting that you're gonna be walking into. So it's more just a communication tool so that we're not losing momentum with that. But, I mean, I guess that can be done with anybody, but I was just thinking if it was a common person, then they would be familiar with.
I think we should cross that bridge when we get to it.
I'm fine with that. Yep, I'm good with
okay,
that.
yeah.
All right, that's it. Jenny, could you roll?
Mrs. Schaefer,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes,
Mr. Parnell,
Yes.
Mr. Lovell.
Yes. Okay, so next up is to approve a resolution of the Board of Representatives to serve on the Butler Technology and Career Development School Boards of Education for a period of 3 years term of office beginning January of 2020. This is rolled into one with the actual appointment, so we will take a nomination here in a second. I, though, prior to us doing that, just have a kind of statement or question for the board for us to wrestle with before we get on to that. We often hear, as a board, I think it comes up frequently, that we need to be thinking about how we can be more business-friendly. How are we, the practices, maybe the things that we're doing, the conversations we're having, whatever that may be, how might we operate in a way that we are more business-friendly in our community? And I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, why wouldn't we consider looking at somebody to serve on the Butler Tech board that is a local business person. Is that a consideration of the board? Is that a conversation that we want to have? You know, it might be a great olive branch to our community to say, hey, who's out there who is a local business person that would like to jump into that, to be that representative. I think about what Butler Tech's doing, being workforce development, so on and so forth. So I just pose that as a question for the board to discuss, if anybody has any thoughts or feelings around that.
Can you do that?
Yeah.
Legally, they changed the law, I don't remember how many years ago it was.
At least 4 or something.
Yeah.
It's my understanding a couple boards, local school boards, appoint.
Yeah, you can do that. Doesn't have to be a sitting board member.
I just posed the question.
Right.
And Brad, what would that look like on this end, do you
Yeah,
think?
that's my question.
I guess I just see it, like, from my perspective as a board member, I see it as no different than when Keith Coney would come to the podium and give an update or a recap of something that's happening, and it's our opportunity to ask questions or say, we would love to know more about this. Could you?
So that person would have to commit to coming to our every board meeting.
Well, that's not necessarily true. That's not a committee, and we don't need a Butler Tech report at every board meeting. I don't know why we have that on the agenda.
How would we know what's going on with Butler Tech if we don't get a report out?
Again, I think it would be
Monthly
similar
written
to what we
report
would
be
do with
fine. We
Keith.
can all read. Well, most of us can, anyway.
I think it would be more of just those
Just say
updates.
most of us can read.
I think it's a great question. I don't have an answer.
I don't know enough about Butler Tech to know.
I haven't served on Butler Tech, so Linda, do you have any thoughts?
I have a lot of thoughts about that, actually.
Okay.
As you know, I have asked to return to Butler Tech for the last 11 years. Out of those 11 years, not concurrently, but I have served on Butler Tech for 7 of those. It takes building of relationships, bridges with the business community, a lot of involvement with the business community. I'm in on my own dime, a number of organizations that are connected to the business community partly for that reason. We've also, my husband and I are small business owners. We've started a small business that we're looking at building for retirement. And so I would say I am connected to the business community, and you have both a board member and a small business owner. I think the ability to understand both education and business is helpful to us as a school board. And I'm not saying there are not qualified business owners out there. If there's someone with interest, I haven't heard that. I don't think that that's necessarily a bad idea. I don't know that it's necessary for our board.
I appreciate the comments. I respect that, you obviously have a business background, small business owner. I think my comment was more of, is this an opportunity for us to be proactive in building relationships out in the business community in a way that gets our community engaged in workforce development through Butler Tech? An opportunity to bring somebody from the business community to the podium, to give us an opportunity to engage with them and help interact in a unique and different way rather than it being an elected person sitting up here representing. I also think, again, my perspective is that I don't know how much having an education background is that critical to being. I mean, if you think about it, we're policy, right? Many of you don't have an education background, but we're elected to serve on the board because we're governance, not management. We hire fine individuals to do the management of the district, so I don't know how much that plays into it other than history on the board, history in the district, and being able to take that, which I would admit an outside business person may not have that. I get that. Julie, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think I actually like the idea. I think the challenge for us might be timing for this year, unfortunately, with their meeting starting tomorrow. That while it might be a good idea, that I think our timing might be challenged to do it this year, to get that process of how we might select someone,
Yeah.
to get them up and running to serve effectively in the process at this point.
If you appoint someone tonight from the board, can you appoint, if we as a board think that's a good idea, can you appoint for a year? And then do the business person and for the remainder of the term, or does it have to be, again, I'm not certain.
It's a 3-year appointment.
So having served
no
on
idea.
Butler Tech, I will tell you it is difficult for anyone coming in and out of that situation. There's a steep learning curve. It's a career technical education is an entirely different field, and that interwovenness that Brad is talking about between business and education, it's hard to get your arms around that without some experience in doing it and just the day-to-day activity of doing it. I think that we could better utilize our Finance Business Advisory Council than we do and look at how we handle that, bringing that voice into the table, that it's not just about our finances, it's a much bigger conversation. I think we could do a lot more with that. I'd love to see us pursue that and more actively engage and bring people into that setting.
Okay. That was all I had about that. Just wanted to feel it out. Maybe it's a conversation that we continue to have in the future. Okay. So do we have any nominations?
How does this work? I mean, being all transparency, we know that both Julie and Linda are interested in the appointment, so how does that
I'll
work?
nominate Linda.
So-
O'Connor.
Okay,
You nominate Julie and we'll vote.
okay, that's what I wondered, if that's how we did it.
Yep.
I have not done this before, Todd.
It's okay.
Right.
Cut me some slack.
Be patient. There's a national championship game tonight.
9:00.
Go
You got
Bucks.
plenty of time. Need to pregame? I would nominate.
Ex-Bengal quarterback is playing.
I
tonight.
know, I agree with you on that. I'll nominate Julie then for Butler Tech.
Well, I think we go through one at a time,
Oh.
right?
Mm,
No?
No.
Oh, we just
You
say
open
who?
it up
Just
for
said we go.
nominations,
all right.
and then I
Great.
think I just heard you officially say you're
I'm
nominating.
Linda O'Connor.
And are you officially saying, so you've got 2 nominations? You don't, seconds aren't required, as you know, on nominations, and then,
Are there any other nominations?
are there any nominations? And if not, then you close it, and then we can vote,
Okay. All right. We close it, right?
as long as there's no other.
Roll call, Jenny.
Okay, so as I do roll call, it's not a yay or a nay, it's a name. So when I get to your name, you would say either Linda or Julie. That's how you vote. Is that clear to everybody? Okay.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
No, well, I was getting a look from
Oh, no.
Kelly, like, okay, I
No,
wanted
I
to
was
make
just
sure. I
no.
thought you were looking at me like I'm.
No, I'm just
Why are you doing
riveted
that?
for what you're saying.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Mrs. Casper,
Julie. I'm like, why am I first?
Mrs. O'Connor,
Linda O'Connor.
Mr. Parnell,
Linda.
Mrs. Schaefer,
Julie Schaefer.
and Mr. Lovell.
Julie Schaefer. Okay. Next, we need to appoint a legislative liaison to also serve as a delegate to the OSBA Capital Conference and appoint an alternate. Do I have a motion? Actually, we need a nomination.
Well, do you want to do, it's usually one of the legislative people. I don't mind doing it, but do you want to do it, Linda? I did it last year. It's up to you, I don't really.
All yours.
All mine? All right.
Do we do them separate, Jenny? The delegate and then,
You can do one motion for
okay.
both.
And then Kelly, do you want to do alternate? Or I'm sorry, Linda, do you want to do alternate?
No, thank you.
Do we have somebody who wants to do alternate?
Todd's like, not it.
I wouldn't be the right one for.
Julie, would you like to?
serve as alternate.
Okay, so do we have a motion to nominate, we have a motion to nominate Kelly as delegate to the OSBA Capital Conference and Julie as the alternate.
I'll second that.
Well, who
Who
made
moves?
the motion?
He did.
I just made the
Brad
motion.
did.
Okay.
Was that,
Is he allowed?
I did, I guess I, she's like, I don't.
There's a learning curve with the presidency.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up, establish a Board of Education regular meeting dates, times, and locations for 2020. Mr. Miller's passing that out.
These should not be new, but just want to give one.
Thank you.
Do we have a motion to approve the proposed board meeting dates?
So moved.
Is this the same, is it second and fourth? Second.
They're all subject to
They're-
change.
The only difference is, like around break.
Right.
Yeah,
And in June.
and subject to change, right?
So I made a motion to approve.
And I second it.
Roll call?
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up is approving items A through E. A, membership renewal with the Ohio School Boards Association at a cost of $7,967. The legal assistance fund at $250. Electronic briefcase subscription at no cost. The electronic school management news subscription at $150, and the OEPI membership at a cost of $1,500. Do I have a motion to approve A through E?
Motion to approve, A through E?
Second.
Jenny, would you like to call roll call?
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up, we have established board service fund at $20,000 as authorized by the Ohio Revised Code, which provides for the setting aside from the general fund a sum not to exceed $2 per student or $20,000, whichever is greater, to be used in paying expenses for us as the Board of Education members in the performance of our duties from July 1st through June 30th, 2021. July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second.
Jenny, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up is an authorization of members of the board to attend any OSBA or NSBA workshops, seminars, and meetings for professional development and to benefit the governance, academic, and financial status of the district.
So moved.
I'll second. Oh, sorry.
Okay, any discussion? I forgot that on the last one. Right, Jenny, you want to call roll?
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up, we have the authorization of the superintendent on behalf of the board to accept resignations which have been submitted by employees during times when the board is not in session, subject to the follow-up ratification by the board, provided, however, that upon ratification by the board, such resignations shall be deemed effective as of the date and time of the superintendent's acceptance. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? Jenny, would you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. The next one is authorizing the superintendent during periods when the board is not in session to make offers of employment directly to candidates for either teaching or non-teaching positions on behalf of the board and to acknowledge acceptance to such offers on behalf of the board, subject to the subsequent vote of ratification by the board, provided, however, that upon ratification by the board, the employment shall be deemed effective as of the date and time of the employee's acceptance of the superintendent's offer. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion? Jenny, could you please call roll?
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up is the adoption of the following resolution to secure tax advances from Butler County. Do I need to read that whole thing? Nope. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Second?
Discussion? Jenny, please call roll.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up, authorizing the treasurer to pay bills as per appropriations and to invest funds when possible. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? Jenny, please call roll.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Item 16 is to adopt the tax budget as presented. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Jenny, would you like to call roll?
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up, approve resolution of attendance of community events. Do I have a motion to adopt?
I'll motion.
Second?
What is that, Jenny?
So this resolution says that we can spend district dollars because you believe it's a proper public purpose of an expenditure of the district's budget for attendance at these meetings of these selected organizations.
Oh, okay.
So the chamber, the,
Okay.
NAACP.
right, there's a list of
List,
them.
okay.
So
And we
we've added to that list this year.
We have expanded it to match our Casual for a Cause, haven't we?
Mhm. Yeah.
Great. I think that's a smart move.
Nonprofits.
Yeah, that's a good
Nonprofits.
idea. that support-
Nonprofits, yes, correct.
Support the schools.
Any further discussion? Jenny, please call roll.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Abstain?
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next up is to approve Ennis Britton, LPA, Brickler and Eckler, People and Wagner, and Frost Brown Todd for legal counsel representation on an as-needed basis. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved?
Second.
Discussion?
Can I just jump in real quick?
You sure can.
I did ask that we add Pepple and Wagner. Just, I have one of the attorneys, I think many of you met at Capitol Conference, Donna Andrew, does a lot of stuff in my previous districts, and not that we would use them, but if we need to, we can. Doesn't cost us anything.
And I apologize because I said People and Wagner.
I know, that's okay.
Pepple. You could have corrected me, it's okay.
I wasn't going
I
to.
thought
all
it said people.
All right. Jenny, call roll, please.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Okay, so that ends this part of or the organizational meeting. We can jump right into the next meeting, or we can take a break. Do we have a preference?
I suggest a break for a moment.
Can we do a 5-minute break?
Sure.
All right, so we're gonna take a 5-minute break. We'll come back together and we'll begin the regular session. Hang tight.
Yeah.
Hey Siri, set a timer for 5 minutes.
More fun to come.
47 seconds, if we're gonna do 5 minutes.
Todd, you got the
He's
top
got the
golf
timer.
We will wait 36 seconds now.
You got it. You got to be proper if you're going to be the president. No, it's going to be hard.
Trying to keep things moving.
That email today from legislative, Linda, did you happen to open that email from, I saw it come through from Jeff Chambers?
No.
Got a crowd out there, audience.
To report for legislative.
What is it?
Ready? All right.
Sherry says go.
That tells us we're ready. So I'd like to welcome everybody to this session of Lakota Board of Education. For those of you joining us, which I don't know if anybody else is joining us, we just came off of our organizational meeting. And so looking forward to a great year. And we're going to start off with board president comments, which I don't know if I have any comments to start us out with, other than looking forward to a new year, a great year for this board. We've got a lot of great work ahead of us, and I'm looking forward to a lot of collaboration among the 5 of us to get some big things moving. Let's see here. Matt?
Yep.
That is a big card.
What is that?
What? It's got 2 L's there. Or the exclamation points.
Oh, wow, thanks.
Thank you.
Pretty big card.
Thank you.
I think I might just keep it like this the rest of the meeting. That's awesome.
Careful of glitter.
Yeah, right.
Which one did you draw?
I'm not that talented.
Aw.
January is School Board Recognition Month in the state of Ohio, so we are recognizing our school board members this evening. Our school board members serve as a link between the community and our classrooms. Elected to establish policies that provide the framework for our schools. They're active, as most of you in this room know, in many of our community and school-wide events. So thank you for your dedication to Lakota schools and our friends at Liberty Early Childhood School that have made the special cards for all of you. So thank you for all you do for us and for our kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And now there's
And what you can't see is the
glitter
covering of-
now we have glitter everywhere.
It's awesome.
Todd with your card, please.
Absolutely.
Get a picture.
With our card?
And
Man, more
Drop
glitter.
glitter on you.
Gather around, Todd.
Jenny and I do not have to
No.
participate in this one.
No.
Flamingo. You know how I am.
No name tags, right? I know, right? That's not shut, mine is shutting.
Hardest thing we do all night.
Thank you. Oh, we're gonna have glitter for days, glitter for days. Early childhood schools love glitter.
All right. Next up, treasurer's comments.
Oh, my Lord.
The only comment I have is that.
Do you have a microphone?
You did. You used
There
to.
you go.
We did refund our bonds. We are closing on that on Wednesday. And so at the next board meeting, I will give a report on the savings that that we anticipated, and then what we realized it was better than what we anticipated. And so I'll do a report out at the next board meeting once that's closed. So that's it.
Great.
Mr. Lovell, if we could bounce student spotlight down, hopefully the students will be here soon.
Sure thing.
Thanks.
Okay, so that brings us to our first opportunity for public comment. Just a reminder that this is for any agenda-related topics. Do we have anybody that's interested in speaking? Not seeing anyone, we'll move on to our board reports, and these will be given by our 2019 board liaisons. So first up, Board Policy Committee.
We didn't meet.
We didn't meet, you're right. All right,
There you go.
Community Engagement Committee.
We had a community conversation regarding school culture, and you asked for a little more detail in some of those community conversations. So we talked a lot about the E+R=O work that's being done in the buildings, which is the event plus response equals outcome, and that kids control their response. So there was discussion about how there's work being done at all grade levels and how it's tailored to each grade level, but how that's being done. And then there was also a survey that was done for our students. There was one survey that was specific to third graders to sixth graders, and that was on a 3 scale that they rated some things, and then there was work done on a 7 to 12 scale, 7 to 12th grade that was on a 1 to 5 scale. So when you first look at the data, it almost looks a little alarming because it's kind of on this, it's on the same grid, and then you see the early grades and you're like, wait, they only rated that a 2.6, and you see next to it it's a 4, and you're thinking, you know, what's going on at the early childhood level, and then you realize it's a different scale. So they didn't show us the entirety of the data from that survey because they still have to dig into it at the school level and with staff, so we were just shown a few metrics, but it was interesting. There were only like 5 different data points, I think, that we were shown, but one that I thought was interesting was the respect for teachers was the lowest metric. And so it was that teachers, or that kids treat each other with respect was much higher than kids treat the teachers with respect, which I thought was interesting from a cultural perspective. But people were asked to speak about that and what their reflections were on the data, and then also what we all together could do, community, school, and everyone together. So that was the gist of the community conversation. And then we have one coming up this Tuesday for grandparents raising their grandchildren. Anything else?
No, I don't think so. We don't have anything else on the books. We were waiting until the org meeting to see who the representatives were going to be. I think Randy is working on one topic. Do you remember, Bets, what the topic? Yeah, he's working on one. We do have dates, but he doesn't have topics.
Are we proposing for this coming year any shifts to the program? Are we going to maintain the current format? Is there any conversation around that, or is the board
There was a
have any?
little bit of conversation after the last one, just amongst, I think Julie and I talked, and I think maybe Matt and I talked, that maybe we, and this is not set in stone, but maybe we go to 1 a month. We are having trouble, not trouble, but we're not getting the attendance that we have in the past. So we are going to meet as a committee. If you guys have any suggestions, we are going to meet as a committee coming up in February. Like I said, we were waiting to see into the new, if there was going to be any new reps
Yeah.
from the board. But
Well, and it might be interesting as well if we start to initiate thought exchange as well, and the impact that that will have in elevating community voice, and if that has anything
Good idea.
to do with community conversation. So I think it'd be interesting just to continue to have that conversation.
right, and we've tried to, you know, mix up the format a little, like with Rob speaking, just to try to.
Change it up.
I don't know where we are on the, how many RSVPs we have for tomorrow night. It'll be interesting.
They were actually calling anybody
Yep.
in the database who they knew were grandparents raising grandchildren to try to
When-
drum up business.
Yeah,
for
when I
tomorrow
was in
night.
the office on Saturday, Randy was there too, calling from, because he wanted it to say Lakota from the phone. And so he was in the office too, trying to get a hold of people.
And
So-
we actually had the library volunteer to help with childcare, so they were actually kind enough to partner with us to provide childcare should that be a barrier for the grandparents to come.
Fantastic. Great. Butler Tech?
Updates on student success.
Oh, this is my favorite thing.
That's all for this evening.
All right, thank you. Finance Committee?
We did not meet. We have not met since the last board meeting.
We have our next meeting scheduled for the 22nd.
Okay. Legislative updates? Legislative Committee?
Matt, do you have any updates on?
There's going to be an Ed Choice press conference, I believe, from on the educator side of things, not so much on the legislative side of things, Thursday at 5. Since we've been in session, I did get a text and an email that I'm going to be on a Zoom call tomorrow morning at 7:30 for Ed Choice as well. So hopefully that's something, and I'll report out to the board what that was about. I'm not sure. You need to be on this call at 7:30 tomorrow, is all I got.
Okay.
Jenny?
No, there's nothing been happening, really. Everybody's been on break, so I don't have any.
Yeah, I don't have anything either. Do you have anything?
That's it for this evening.
Okay. Last up, Diversity Committee? Diversity? We don't have a Diversity Committee, do we?
have that.
That was
Oh, all right, we don't have a Diversity Committee. Must have been
Old.
the leftover. Okay, fantastic. Next up is Treasurer's Recommendations.
Go to our student spotlight now.
Do we want to jump that in now? Do you want to do
Do
Student
kids now?
Spotlight now?
They all here?
You know what, why don't we do the treasurer and superintendent first, and then we'll do the
Okay.
kids while they're getting settled into things.
Great.
And parents are getting settled.
Do I have a motion to approve board minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Jenny?
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mr. Lovell?
Yes. Next, we have superintendent's recommendations, items A through D. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Discussion? All right, Jenny?
Mr. Parnell?
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer?
Yes.
Mrs. Casper?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor?
Yes.
And Mr. Lovell?
Yes. All right, we are going to move into our student spotlight.
Because you guys were so speedy tonight.
We're that good.
You were so fast. So I'll let you know what's going on, and then hopefully Avery should be here any second. So good evening, Happy New Year. As one of the pillars of our mission statement says, we are in this together. Tonight you're going to meet two 5th grade students from Woodland Elementary School who are great examples of this. Avery Weisenborn and Sydney Allen are no strangers to community service. In December, they decided to enlist the help of their fellow students. After approaching their principal, Mr. Wise, the girls launched Warmth to the Rescue at their school, collecting hats and gloves for people in need. So the hats and gloves went to Reach Out Lakota and then also Hope's Closet. So,
Lucky them. I'm seeing people wave them in.
she's coming.
She looks very unsure.
Welcome.
She's like, what?
Sydney. Come on up, Sydney. Avery's coming.
So me and Avery got the idea of starting Warmth to the Rescue because I've always wanted to start a fundraiser or something for school. And so me and Avery started talking, and since the next season was winter, we decided to do a winter-themed one. And so we were like, well, items for winter would be hats, gloves, mittens, scarves, and stuff like that. So then midway through the point, Avery came up with Warmth to the Rescue. And with this, we split the classes into groups of 3. And then we made announcements about stuff like what to bring in, which was hats, gloves, mittens, and scarves. And so
So this is Avery.
in our fundraiser, we wanted to always start a fundraiser, so we did it together, and we had them bring in winter themed items since it was around time for winter, and we donated these items to Hope House, and every team had a holiday themed name, and we counted the items every Friday, and the winning team got candy canes, and yeah, that's about it. Our fundraiser went from November 26th to December 18th, which gave them 23 days to get items and bring them in. At the end we're not for sure about this, but we believe we collected 119 items. Our goal was 115, and so since that goal, we reached beyond that goal. The whole school got a Spirit Day, which already happened, and they did a PJ Day. Also, the donations, we are giving them to Hope House. We are trying to get in touch with them. So far, we're at that point at trying to get the items to them. So.
So what was the hardest part about organizing?
Probably for me, at least collecting all the items and trying to keep track of everything.
Kind of the same thing for me when we counted, not trying to lose track and making sure that we were on time and didn't miss any time in class.
Oh. Good deal, good deal.
Do you think you want to do another fundraiser?
We already started one called Spring to the Rescue.
And what's this one going to be?
It's going to be collecting
Flip-flops, sunscreen, summer needed items like sun
water
hats.
bottles and stuff.
Very important items.
Great idea.
Yeah.
What surprised you the most?
That they actually reached the goal.
What surprised me was the fact that since this is our first fundraiser, that it succeeded really well. Because at first it was doing bad in the first couple of weeks, and then it started picking up though.
Great.
Any other questions?
Thank you so much for reaching out and helping other people.
Yeah.
That was very kind of you. I'm sure your principal and everyone else at school appreciated it very much.
Well done.
Hide the crutches behind me. They're behind you.
I know, I'm letting him sit.
Do you want a chair?
Oh, okay.
You might want to explain why we're so off to everybody. This coming in now, why we're so almost done.
Oh, yeah.
So next meeting, where do I move to?
Sharon just got here.
I guess with Kelly
What about me?
over there.
Oh,
Okay, so for those of you that just entered, it's going to feel a little weird. We put we are at the end of our meeting, actually, and we put our students at the end because we were moving way quicker through the organizational meeting and into our regular meeting. However, before we adjourn this meeting, we inadvertently left off this agenda the second opportunity for public comment. So if there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the board, please do so. Come to the podium. And make sure you state your name and your address, and you'll have
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
You guys are kind of moving kind of quick tonight. I thought the movie, is this on?
It sure is.
It is. You're good.
I thought the meeting was going to start at 6:30, that's why I'm here, but I guess you're moving kind of quick, so I guess I'm allowed the 3 minutes for the comment. My name is Wayne Schleimer. I live at 8852 Timber Chase Court in Westchester. I have 2 adult children that graduated Lakota West in the 90s. One is an ENT surgeon. The other one is an executive assistant at a major international company in San Francisco. Not too bad. What prompted me to come here tonight, I just wanted to lightly go over the Ed Choice, which has been in the papers and in all the media over the last few months. I don't know, is the board here familiar with an organization called PISA, P-I-S-A? If you're not, it's called the Program for International Student Assessment. It's a worldwide study. It's done for 15-year-olds, and it's done every 3 years. They just completed the survey done last December. It's involved with 79 countries, and the results, like I said, just came in from last December. There's 600,000 students that are tested, and they're tested for math, science, reading, the other sciences, the biology. And interesting results, the USA came in at 37th in math. The USA also came in at 18th in science. And the USA came in at 13th in reading. And you can go on the internet and take a look at these results. They're pretty open. But the one country that came in the top 10 for all categories is China. And I was asking you if you would agree to me if all USA school districts and school organizations need to come back to fundamentals so we can compete a little bit better in this program for international student assessment. I guess that's a yes. I see a bobbing head there. Is that correct?
Usually what we do when someone comes up and speaks is they'll say what they want to say, and then the
Oh, there's
board
no
president.
one-on-one
There is not,
comment?
no.
No,
Oh, okay.
that's okay.
I should have clarified.
Okay, but I just wanted to clarify that. And I was kind of concerned about where this school system has been going in the last few years, because in the articles I read in the paper about a month ago concerning the ED choice, it says verbatim from Matt Miller that the cause of the fiasco is a flawed report card system that the state has instituted.
Yep.
And that, and I can understand that. But what is said here is also that the standardized test scores, then ensuring that our kids are prepared for life after graduation. And I just quite couldn't understand what that meant. I don't know if that is concerning basics or other social curriculum. And I didn't understand that.
All right.
And I was hoping that maybe you can clarify that
We
to me
appreciate,
at some other time.
we appreciate your comments. Matt, if there's anything that you would like to respond
Well-
to with that?
Well, go ahead.
With the time is up, the 3 minutes is up, but typically what we'll do is if there's any questions that need to be addressed, we can have Matt or Jenny
Okay.
respond to those at that time.
I did have one other question. Can I
You
give
can
that
pose
now?
it, you can pose it to the board. I can't say they'll be answered, but you can pose it to us.
Okay. Regards to the ED choice dilemma, I understand the board's view, and I understand the ODE testing, and I understand the 300% increase in eligible school ed choice. But one thing I didn't understand, and maybe you can help me out, there's 2 close school systems in this area, and of course they're a lot smaller than Lakota. Lakota is like the 3rd largest in the state. Kings and Mason. The Kings and Mason school system had a total of 3 underperforming buildings, I think they referenced in the media. And Lakota had 8. And I was wondering why there was such a differential in those other school systems and Lakota when we're in the same area. That's one of the questions I had.
All right, thank you, thank you. We need to finish up.
Okay.
We have a 3-minute time frame that we need to stick
Okay,
to,
all
but
right.
you're more than welcome to stick around. And if you want to talk to Mr. Miller or Mrs. Logan directly, or any one of us, you may do that.
Okay. All right.
All right,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. That brings this meeting to a close. And so if we can move to closing comments. We'll start with Ms. Schaefer.
Okay. On the agenda tonight, there were 2 resignations that hit particularly close to home for me. One was Mrs. Bauer and one was Mrs. Williamson, who were both teachers that were extra special to our family. So I was very sad to see those on the agenda. There's always ones that are hard to see go, but for my family in particular, those were very hard to see on the agenda tonight. So they will be at the end of the year, so people will see them through the end of the year, but I know those are going to impact a lot of families and be very sad to see. So we're so thankful for so many educators that make a big difference to so many families every single day, but I just wanted to make a particular comment on that this evening. So hope everyone had a great new year and starts the year off well.
No, just Happy New Year, and I'm looking forward to this year on the board and working together and getting things done, and excited about the master's facility plan and moving forward with that.
Absolutely.
Nothing for tonight.
Okay,
Nothing for me either.
all right,
Me either.
I think I got mine in early. I'm good.
great, great. I don't have any comments at this time. I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and for those of you that just walked in, we were speedy tonight, so we apologize or are thankful for that. I'm not sure. But we look forward to a great year. We look forward to all the things that are in store for our students here in the district this year. So do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Jenny?
Mr. Parnell,
Yes.
Mrs. O'Connor,
Yes.
Mrs. Casper,
Yes.
Mrs. Schaefer,
Yes.
and Mr. Lovell.
Yes.